Hello and welcome. This is Amhara Media Corporation English Service and you're watching our daily updates. I'm Gaila Damu. Stay tuned. Indian businessmen say that the recent book of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, Generation Meddamer, will drive a lot of Pan-Africanism and instill confidence in not only Ethiopia but also Africa. Brown Workana reports.
The English version of the book was introduced to the international community residing in Addis Ababa on Thursday. One, the Indian business persons approached by INA during the launching, Ethiopian Steel PLC General Manager Bahaba Chandaria said, the previous book emphasizes a homegrown Ethiopian and African wisdom.
The world is full of diversity. So diversity and inclusion is what the book is all about, Meddamer. So how do you include a generation to be inclusive, to have voice, to find voice? So I think the attempt is done by the Prime Minister, His Excellency Prime Minister, to set pace or to throw light. On the book, on the page 91, it says, knowledge consists not getting from outside, but getting the light from inside.
According to Chandaria, who claims to have lived in many African countries and developed a Pan-Africanism spirit, the book will instill confidence not only in Ethiopia but in Africa. It leads to the African mindset and will proliferate beyond that.
So what Africa needs, I see this book driving a lot of Pan-Africanism confidence, basically. What we need is first conviction and confidence within ourselves. See, Africa doesn't need to read outside books. We need to create content here. We have enough wisdom here. So this book will instill that confidence, number one. It is not only Ethiopia, as always. Ethiopia is always Africa. Okay, so Ethiopia leads the African mindset, and I guess it will proliferate beyond this. Our role, my role is, when I go to other countries, is to talk about this book. More than the book is the message. And it will happen. It will happen naturally. So I guess it's a very good step. And it is incumbent on us now to be the carrier of this message.
Beyond this, the business person pointed out that the Prime Minister in his book attempts to bring together the Ethiopian generation through his accommodationist view. Mohan Group of Companies Chief Executive Officer Haji Kotari said, the book is deliberation on how Ethiopia is positioned globally.
Meddamer takes a different stage. And it's at a more advanced stage because it's talking about the next generation, what they call the millennial generation. And how does the millennial generation take a step ahead, take a step forward, and put Ethiopia in a position at a global stage. In this Meddamer, there's deliberation on how Ethiopia is positioned in Africa, in the Middle East, and globally in general, and how the coming generation needs to work, needs to think, and needs to unify in order to strengthen Ethiopia's position globally. And it also emphasizes how individuals, each one of us, have to do our own bit. We have to do our own work. We have to make ourselves stronger.
He added, apart from his previous books, this newest book of the Prime Minister takes a different stage at a more advanced age, which is talking about the millennial generation to put Ethiopia in a position at a global stage. At the same time, Kotari noted, the book also puts a lot of emphasis on how Ethiopia could become a powerhouse in the world, which is a paradigm shift. According to Kusal Shita of Indian Business Forum Ethiopia, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has taken the initiative to write this book, which aims at showing a generational description and enabling the current generation to learn a lot. Shita added that the book gives a roadmap on how the Ethiopian current generation learns from mistakes and tries to improvise on their future.
It's a wonderful initiative by the Prime Minister. We feel that all of us are obliged to do our bit, to contribute our bit. It may be very small, but still we take the initiative to take the lead, spread the word amongst friends, families, because the proceeds are also going to go for a very noble cause. So it becomes our moral responsibility to promote the book, spread the word, and ensure that more and more people get involved with the reading of the book, because it's a wonderful thought, Madamar, first of all, and also because the proceeds also go for a noble cause. It becomes double our duty to promote the book.
Shita underscored, most certainly, the Madamar thought can be applicable globally beyond Ethiopia and Africa due to its inclusiveness. Deputy Convener of Indian Business Forum, Rajiv Kumar Sharma, also believes that Madamar's principles are universal and will not serve only Ethiopia. He added the book can play a big role and it can give guidance to other regional people like the African community.
The principles are universal. It is not only for Ethiopian context. The principles are for the entire humanity, or like the entire region or globe. We can say, like as you asked, for Africa also. If we use this Madamar, like this practice, like learning the mistakes from the previous time, working together, becoming together, understanding each other, and to see the picture in the big manner, not in the short manners or the short time. I think this book can play a big role, and it can give also the guidance to other regional forces, regional people, or like African community. So it is, I think, capable to give that direction also.
Generation Madamar, the latest series of Prime Minister's book, is published in Amharic, Afan Oromo, and English languages.
Italian Ambassador Agostino Pale said that Italy is ready to assist rehabilitation efforts of conflict-affected areas of Ethiopia. Brownwork and tells us more.
The ambassador noted that the Ethiopian government has a very difficult task and Italy is willing to assist the peace process. It is to be recalled that the federal government and TPLF agreed on 2 November 2022 to permanently silence the guns and end the 2 years of conflict in northern Ethiopia. Since then, the federal government has been taking various measures, including restoring basic services and delivery of humanitarian assistance to the region. Ambassador Palisi said, "We have to stay on track and need to see the final target and come to an end to the problem. In this respect, Italy is ready to assist rehabilitation efforts through their cooperation agreement, and they will try to intervene all over the country through various programs." According to the ambassador, Ethiopian and Italian authorities had discussions on the approach and mechanisms through which they can work together to improve humanitarian situations in the country.
I think that many things I've done, but we have to continue on the framework of the dialogue. This is the only way to go forward, and I think the government has many challenges to cope. The next step will be to have an inclusive dialogue with all over Ethiopia, and in order to solve the problem, with the political dialogue. Political dialogue, political inclusiveness is the only way to go forward. I don't see other options.
Stating the importance of assistance and collaboration in the Horn, the ambassador noted Italy is working on the forefront in the Horn of Africa within the United Nations to have additional funds for Africa.
And we push always, with the international organization, to help Ethiopia in this difficult moment, especially on the humanitarian sector and even on rehabilitation of the infrastructure.
Recall that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Prime Minister Meloni recently signed €180 million cooperation agreement.
Somalia's Deputy Finance Minister Abdi Kafan said that Ethiopia and Somalia enjoy long-time partnership and cooperation in multifaceted fields, including security and stability, as well as economic integration. Mordomluye has the details.
In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, Deputy Finance Minister Kafan said that Ethiopia is providing support in stabilizing Somalia.
Ethiopia has been supporting us, Somalia, to actually re-establish Somalia in our country. We are now our own trajectory. I believe the current ongoing operation in Somalia, which is aimed to liberate and liberate the entire terrorist groups in Somalia. Ethiopia is participating in that. They are contributing in terms of militarily and also, all the efforts that we are aiming to achieve in Somalia.
The relationship between the two countries has been positive, and it is positive now, he said, adding that they are enjoying great relationship. He thinks it has always been good, and at the moment Ethiopia and Somalia's bilateral relationship is very positive. The Deputy Prime Minister pointed out that Ethiopia's role in liberating Somalia from Al-Shabaab is of paramount importance for the peace and security of the entire region. Speaking of regional economic integration, Kafan said that African countries need to focus mainly on economic development, the recovery of multifaceted problems, and the transformation of economies.
We believe the entire Africa needs to come together. We need to actually facilitate the free movement of trade, people and goods. We believe that we will come back on the trajectory of economic progress if we African countries actually ensure a free movement of people, free trade.
Furthermore, Kafan added that facilitating the actual and real transformation for our society and business community is crucial to achieve their potentiality in relation to business and economic development.
A high-level public-private dialogue on private sector investment in electricity and infrastructure development in Africa will take place in Addis Ababa. Maud Domlier has the details.
The high-level meeting, organized by Economic Commission for Africa in collaboration with Renewable Energy Solutions for Africa Foundation, will be held from 28 to 30 March 2023 in Addis Ababa. According to the Economic Commission for Africa, the high-level public-private dialogue will gather private and public stakeholders supporting the development of Africa's infrastructure and engage in policy dialogue on what is needed to advance Africa's electricity sector reform agenda and ensure adequate investment flows towards the sector. The dialogue will be the opportunity to discuss the main findings from the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa and Renewable Energy Solutions for Africa supported national electricity market regulatory reviews. It's also expected to trigger forward-looking conversation about how policy and regulatory environments can ensure adequate openness, attractiveness, and readiness of African electricity markets to crowd in private investments and deliver on Agenda 2063 in SDG 7 targets. Renewable Energy Solutions for Africa is a foundation that works in support of Africa's just energy transition in order to achieve the SDG 7, ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. It functions as the bridge between Europe and Africa, gathering a network of members from all over the clean energy sector from both continents in high-level international partnerships.
You're watching Amhara Media Corporation English Service, and now let's proceed to News Beyond Borders. Sudan's military leader Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has called on troops to end support for authoritarian leaders as talks begin on military reforms, part of a prolonged transition to civilian rule. In a speech to soldiers on Sunday, Burhan said during their history, the armed forces have supported dictatorial governments and they want to put an end to that. A rights group in Tunisia said a boat carrying African refugees and migrants has capsized off Tunisia, leaving at least 90 people dead. In the last 3 to 4 days, 5 refugees boats have sunk off the southern city of Sfax, leaving 67 missing and 9 dead after a significant increase in boats heading towards Italy. Tunisian officials said at least 34 African migrants and refugees were missing on Friday after their boat sank off Tunisia, the 5th shipwreck in 2 days, raising the total number of missing to 67 amid a sharp increase in boats heading towards Italy. The heavy cost of load shedding is affecting farmers of South Africa. Northwest Province-based chicken farmer Herman Dupreez said that the problem is devastating his chicken farm. Iyayu Melasa presents the story.
Northwest Province-based chicken farmer Herman Dupreez is still counting his losses after 40,000 of his broiler chickens suffocated and died due to power supply disruptions, which affected the small farming town of Lichtenberg earlier this year. In recent years, South Africa's power generation has become so inadequate that the continent's most developed economy must cope with rolling power blackouts for up to 8 to 10 hours per day. This has had an adverse impact on business from small to large operations. A majority of Dupreez's chicken operation relies on a consistent power supply to regulate the environment in which his chickens are bred. Without the security of knowing he will have guaranteed electricity, he has to rely on 3 generators as backup.
That controller in that house that's switched off, it's the whole brain of the house. It runs literally everything. It runs the feed, it runs the cooling, the ventilation, the humidity, the temperature. So for us as chicken farmers, we are 100% dependable on power. That's why I have 3 generators in case of emergencies, because we know that we can run out of power.
Dupreez suggested that the South African government and the agriculture sector should come together to look into ways to minimize the impact of power outages on farmers, adding that it would reduce the cost of the price of food.
I think I don't speak just from a chicken side, but also from a maize side. There's other people who does cattle. We need power for water pumps for our animals. But I think if they can just maybe give the farmers of South Africa a little bit of break on the amount of phases that we have to go through.
Adel Nechebelen, an energy expert, said he believed residents who suffered major losses should express their anger at the government. He said he was optimistic of improvements.
The new minister, I'm happy. His focus is now on ensuring that power stations are kept open and the lifespan of those power stations are extended. And you can get more electricity out of them, and that is where we should be moving towards. Then you will see improvement on a general scale. The economy, the GDP will improve, efficiency in terms of jobs creation, industry that has left South Africa will come back, our agricultural sector will be able to pump.
South Africa's power problem is taking a huge chunk out its GDP after its central bank estimated that $51 million is lost every day due to load shedding.
This is Amhara Media Corporation English Service, and now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rates. That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching, and coming up next, Apps of the Week. Stay tuned.